There was once a theory talking about how the Traveler's Electro kits reflects on the true identity of the Electro Dragon Sovereign, along with the other following elements and their respective other sovereigns. This is a theory that has been going around for a long time, but it was more about how Traveler's kits are weaker versions of Archons. But with the reveal that the Hydra Traveler's skills and Nouvelette's kit work similarly, the old theory about Traveler's kits becoming more related to the Dragon Sovereigns has re-emerged thanks to that. Before the Hydra Traveler, no one really had confidence to argue which side. In the kit details, Hydra Traveler can also produce a source water droplet that Nouvelette can surprisingly absorb with his charge attack, although it's actually not that great. By extension, when Dendra Traveler uses their elemental burst, they produce a structure with a field of effect quite similar to Nahidha's. Since that, everyone assumed that they followed the element to Archon rule. However, when we witnessed a PEP, the Dendra Dragon's sovereign strength, the barriers, the structures it formed inside its body, it was more as if Dendra Traveler was mimicking a PEP instead of Nahidha. When Dendra Traveler uses their burst, they create a Lea Lotus lamp which looks similar to a fungus, ones that come out from a PEP. Next, Electro Traveler is a bit peculiar because they summon the Magatama, which may or may not be symbolic of the Shogun, though more documents show that there was a tradition of creating a Magatama shape using thunder to control its powers in Narukami before the Shogun sisters took reign. Not to mention this shape symbolizes those who harness the source power of Electro. What's weird in this case is that despite receiving powers of the Archon, using a symbol or shape that idolizes the said Archon is a weird premise since you would rather just use their source power. Which leads to the other idea that the Magatama was actually the form of what the Electro Dragon Sovereign actually used, which would be bestowed upon the Traveler. Next, let's discuss about the Ouroboros and the form of Dragon Sovereigns. But why are we talking about the Ouroboros all of a sudden? Well, it's because of the current situation in Inazuma. There isn't exactly a dragon existing there. However, there was something very close to that, which is the Orobashi. According to Abaraku, or Abrax, a historical figure in Enkanomiya and creator of the artificial sun called the Dainichi Makashi, dragon sovereigns possess a figure that is similar to that of a serpent, and in Byakukyoku, Enkanomiya, people serve the Ouroboros, a serpent without scales. While the Traveler uses the powers of the Dragon Sovereigns, for Inazuma, the Traveler could just be using Ouroboros' powers, which is the closest thing to that of a sovereign dragon. An additional bit to making the theory about the Traveler harnessing the Dragon Sovereign's powers instead of the Archons is more plausible is when we learn that the power of the elements are not that of the Archons. Since during Fontaine's story, the power of the element became the power of the Dragon Sovereign, and the Traveler still retains the same powers and is quite similar to Nouvelette. A question that comes out of all this speculation is why haven't the Dragon Sovereign of Inazuma shown up as well in story so far? Since the Electro powers haven't rescinded after the supposed Electro Dragon Sovereign's death. Well, technically, even if the one that is given the elemental powers die, does not mean that the elements disappear. We can see this when the Hydro Archon seat gets destroyed, but the power of Hydro doesn't disappear, but instead returns to Nouvelette, the Dragon Sovereign. So it's a reasonable assumption to deem that the powers are simply transferred to those that can use it. That is why he doesn't really need to choose the next descendant, because it just goes naturally to those who can wield it. This still doesn't solve the mystery behind the missing dragon in Inazuma though. If we're in line with the Traveler using the lesser form of the Dragon Sovereign's strength, where does it come from then? Where is the dragon, and why can Traveler use the power of Electro? Even if we ask, does it have to be a dragon? So the new question is, where did the Electro Dragon Sovereign go? In other nations, even if it wasn't a dragon sovereign, there were dragons that harnessed the elemental powers. Mondstadt has Dvalin, Liyue has Aztaha, Sumeru has a PEP, and Fontaine has Nouvelette. Heck, even Natlan is just titled the Land of Dragons. Where is the dragon of Inazuma? It's very suspicious that there are snakes and serpents, but no dragons, not to mention that there are no Inazuman records for any dragons either. If the source water droplet that Hydra Traveler summons can not only be used by just Nouvelette but other characters, then the whole theory falls apart. Inazuma is just a very suspicious place regarding its lore, but Zhongli is also another suspicious character in all of this. We still don't know what form he is. He could be a dragon sovereign himself with all this knowledge he has. We cannot throw away that potential theory. Of course, the form of a dragon expressed in Teyvat is somewhat a fusion between a typical dragon and an illuminated beast, but Zhongli's Rex Lapis dragon form looks very similar to the dragon sovereigns that we have met up until now. We can't even confirm strongly if Aztaha himself is actually a dragon sovereign either, because Zhongli was the one that pulls Aztaha out of the rock and pieced it together. To be more specific, he took the sleeping Aztaha out and made eyes for it, which Zhongli really didn't have any reason to do so. Secondly, Aztaha and Zhongli got along pretty well, which is not something that makes sense since lore-wise the Archons took the powers of the dragon sovereigns, so their relationship wouldn't be positive in that regard. Some may question at that point why would Neuvillette and Furina get along, but they have a much deeper connection, starting with Fozler's taking Neuvillette and, well, basically gaslighting him into liking humans. You can tell from his assessment of other Archons that he doesn't like them and think of them as thieves and vow to take back the powers. So even if Zhongli gave Aztaha eyes to see, it wouldn't make the relationship any better if Aztaha was a dragon sovereign. In addition, Zhongli is the only one that keeps a secret contract with Celestia, bears a form of a dragon, and also an ancient Archon, which makes him even more suspicious. Out of the God Kings Remus, Scarlet King, and Zhongli, only Zhongli is the sole survivor here, and that places him in a very peculiar position, something we can look forward to. Another point to look forward to is why Inazuma doesn't have a dragon. Since there are actually no lores about this topic, it's something we can only hope to see in the future patches of Genshin Impact. Thank you all so much for watching. What do you think of these theories? If you enjoyed watching or listening to this video, remember to drop a like and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you all next time.